Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Nostalgia Crackdown here on the Post Credits channel, part of the Let's Get Ready network. I'm Adelia. I'm joined by my buddy Josh. We are here tonight to talk about one of the greatest managers of all time, who we will say by the end of this episode whether we think she is the greatest manager of all time, the Queen of Corruption, Shannon Barney. Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. We got a great topic tonight, a lot to discuss. Very excited for this episode, so happy to get into it.
Yeah. Before we start, we're gonna watch a clip that I put together today. 2 clips from Shannon at the in the Schmoedown from the very beginning. This is the censored. I noticed they censored it. It was not censored at the time. Promo that she cut when she announced herself as the manager of corruption, leading into the faction era in season 7, and a clip from the 2020 Schmoedown draft. You all right there, Josh?
I'm good. I've been dealing with allergies, so apologies for that.
It's okay. So the 2020 Schmoedown draft, it's a clip from that as well. One where I think these 2 clips in particular set the tone for corruption heading into the 2020 season. And yeah, so hey, Brennan. Let's say hello to Brennan in the chat before we watch this clip.
Yep.
Okay, let's just switch over and watch it.
Sorry, guys, I got really comfortable for a minute. I should have put my shoes back on, but so you all just saw what happened here tonight.
That's a reminder. Mike got smashed by Smets.
Chance came out
Yes.
here, and he said everything that I was going to say because I was downstairs making sure Mike was okay.
And also, what was important about this interview, or Shannon coming up, was Mike didn't do a post-match interview, if I remember. He
sucks.
He walked up next to Chance when Chance confronted Grace and Ken. I noticed today, but Mike didn't say anything.
Yes.
Here's the bottom line. Most of you by now have figured this out because you know how to connect the dots. But for those of you sitting in this audience tonight,
And for like a
those of you
first
watching who are like,
appearance for
great
Shannon
background.
to be
I
in the
never even
main
seen her
spotlight,
before.
she's really killing
Fair.
it.
Valid.
Yeah.
Very
But I'd like to
succinct
let
with her
you all
points,
know
very
that just
forceful,
because you haven't seen me
like
doesn't
commanding
mean
the
I haven't been here
presence
the whole
of like
frickin'
everyone's
time.
attention in this moment
Yeah.
where corruption
And I got
is
something else to tell you.
at its almost lowest
Now, it's
and
very
going through
convenient
major
that Ken and
changes.
Grace decided to show up tonight,
Mm-hmm.
but they have not.
Like,
been
we
here.
had
And Chance
seen
is
little
absolutely
glimpses
right.
at Shannon at this point in shots
not
and in the
deserve
crowd
to
and stuff
manage
like that,
corruption.
but we'd never seen Shannon take control
So,
like this.
if you will allow me, I would like to
Absolutely.
formally introduce
I mean, it was never
myself
clear if
as
Shannon
very
at that
important.
moment was if Shannon was ever going to be a huge
As we
part of
make
the
this
Schmoedown
official.
in this
You
way.
with me?
Because
Yeah.
we haven't
Hey,
had a
and you
lot
know
of
what? Even if you're
instances
not, doesn't matter,
where
'cause
a
eventually you will
competitor's
be.
girlfriend
I
or
don't know what you said,
significant
but
other
will be.
in any way is not involved in the
Ladies and
Schmoedown,
gentlemen,
and
boys
then
and
it
girls,
becomes involved
for
in the
those of you who
Schmoedown
don't know me, my
in a
name is
way,
Shannon,
like
and I am
Shannon
the
is in this
rightful
moment.
manager
Yeah.
of the championship team you love
I love
to
that she
hate.
called it in
We
this,
are corruption.
promo, the championship team.
I have a feeling I'm going to need a little more champagne for this one.
Then this is the draft.
Say it with me. Wild berries. Wild. Elliot Dewberry.
Oh, wow.
You're
He's taking Dewberry.
She broke up the wild berries, which I
Just
know
At this
Josh and
point-
I were not
Wild berries
particularly
officially,
upset
they're
about,
gone.
but other people definitely were.
Yes.
Wow.
What's got the fake crying is great.
Yeah.
Well,
Flipping off the crowd. So.
Yes.
But those 2 clips, I think, set the tone for what corruption was going to be under Shannon. And I think you see that from season 7 onward, even though they were basically baby faces in season 9, it still set the tone. Like, we are not here to play around. We are here to win things. We are here to get championships. And that's exactly what they did under Shannon.
Absolutely. And it also brings a different type of energy, maybe not different type, but like an important energy to corruption
Yeah.
at this moment, because corruption coming into this moment, they might have been broken up by the draft. We didn't know, or maybe even drafted by a different manager. I remember that there were arguments of like, oh, what happens if someone ahead of Shannon actually drafts Mike and Chance because they were a protected team?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some arguments that like by getting Mike and Chance, at least Mike, the IG points might be worth it. but because Mike lost so badly to Smets, I would be very curious if the Smets match was closer. What would have
Yeah.
happened if Shannon had to maybe trade up to get Mike? If there was some sort of it would be very interesting because her faction name was Corruption, to our knowledge,
Mhm.
going into the draft. So it would be very weird to not get Mike. But
Yeah.
because both Mike and Chance were coming in at their lowest in a way, and the faction just got broken up. They're kind of coming in at a low. Shannon bring this vengeful energy, and this
Mhm.
character work was absolutely amazing. Had the most memorable moment of that draft between her and Roka when Roka was mad about the third round, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. So it's very it's immediately we don't know how successful she's going to be as a manager, and we
She
talk about
was
how
immediately impactful, though.
yes, immediately impactful with the character slash storyline, and immediately like we at least knew that this part of her game was going to be very interesting and very fun to watch, and very fun either to root against or to root for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where should we start, Josh?
Absolutely. So there's a couple places we could start. I think the first thing we should do is I think we split it up in the 3 to 4ish categories. And the first one I think we should talk about is Mike and Chance's success under Shannon.
Okay. Yeah. Um, they were phenomenal in the teams division under Shannon. 2 times teams champs, and I looked this up today. Under Shannon, they played 6 matches. They should have played a lot more, but because they were champs, they played less. Of the 6 matches, 4 of them were championship matches, and the other 2 are number 1 contenders matches. I mean, she had them right at the top of the teams division.
Absolutely. And some of their most we went over last time, I believe, or 2 times ago, the Shazam versus Corruption match, and even
Yeah, the
that
50 on
loss was one of
50.
the most memorable matches.
Yeah.
And Corruption did an extreme both Mike and Chance, both as Corruption, but also individually, had some extreme highs. Like, Mike makes his case for the GOAT argument under Shannon 100% by
Mhm.
coming back from that devastating loss to Smets, by being so good in IG, being decent enough in singles, and so good in teams, and Chance debuting in IG and doing very far in the IG tournament.
He
Like,
won the IG tournament
yes, won the IG tournament. So when
in
it comes
2020, yeah.
to her star players, what's called both their legacies were made under Shannon for
Yeah.
sure, and I think that it's very interesting to see that like the belt success and like we can get into this a little, but like it gets into an interesting conversation where it's like, what is Shannon without Mike as a manager? Because Mike, you can make the argument that Mike is in the GOAT talk. It's easier to manage a GOAT competitor. It's
Yeah.
easier to manage a competitor who is who is a 3 division threat,
Mhm.
who is the greatest IG player of all time, greatest team player of all time. But the fact that Chance won the IG tournament, and we're going to get to Marisol and Adam, but it's an absolutely incredible run Shannon goes on success-wise.
Absolutely. Um, if we wanna talk about Mike individually in IG, he was the IG champion for most of 2021. He defeated Mara to win the belt, and then he had defenses against Chandru, Amaru, and Parker, and he didn't lose it until season 9 against Smets, and then, because of the everything ending and everything, he never played in a title match again. But, yeah, that's just an insane run, and, like,
In a division that doesn't defend. Like, IG before this, there was no defenses or very
yeah,
few defenses.
yeah,
It's
just
absolute Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's incredible to think that he had 3 title defenses when we'd had, like, only Chandru, I think, since, like, Hector Navarro had defended the belt.
Yes.
So
It's one of those things where, the person she's competing against when we're gonna be talking about the GOAT debate and we're going to be talking about the success and the character work and everything. What it really comes down to is her versus Dagnito. There's no one who comes
Mm-hmm.
close between
Yeah.
those two. Maybe Emma Fife, but in my opinion, I don't think Fife was managing long enough to go against the stacked careers. And Barney has done this also in had this amount of success in a very, very short time frame.
Yeah,
Which
she was
is
only manager for 3 seasons. You gotta realize Gucci was there the whole time when we get to that
exactly.
debate.
So
Yeah.
but what I'll say is like Mike's success under Shannon to me mirrors the Patriots. And it's like a wash
Yeah.
basically, where it's like Dagnino has the Patriots and Shannon has making Mike like cementing Mike in that go conversation 100%.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Um, just phenomenal with those 2 players and all the success they had under Shannon.
Yes. The only small critique you could maybe offer when it comes to Mike and Chance is it's a little weird Chance doesn't have single success on just in
It is.
general in his whole career. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is there any critique? Is like a player of Chance's talent to never really get close in singles or have like just I don't think he ever even had a number one contender match. Although you could even make the argument that he's had
Well,
one of
he
the
did play a championship match against Marisol, didn't he?
did he?
At the New York Live event? I'm fairly certain.
Oh, then never mind. My memory, I guess it's been a long month for both of us, so my
It's been a long
apologies about that.
yeah.
Um, I've completely forgot about that. So then, never
Yeah.
mind what I said. So
I'm surprised that Chance didn't hold either singles or IG gold, though. He
I'm not
definitely
surprised about IG, honestly. Singles,
well, I
I
mean, I
am.
thought he had a real chance of beating, who was the champ?
I think it was Chandru, right? Or
No, it
was
wasn't
it?
Chandru.
It wasn't Mike because he beat
I'm gonna
Mike
look
in
it
the
up.
tournament. I thought it was Chandru, but I could be because I
I
thought
don't
that was Chandru's defense.
is it?
That's what I thought, but Eric makes a good comment. Mike being a triple threat when there weren't many. Like really weren't many.
Yeah.
Like in fact, the only like current one because Rachel was retired. You can make the argument was Chance. It was really Mike and Chance were the two only triple threats in that division.
Yeah. Um,
Off the top of my head.
I'm just gonna
Yep,
pull this
checking
up
the
here.
Chandra thing. All good.
Yeah.
And while you check that, I'll quickly move on to the next two people we have to talk about when it comes to corruption, which is Adam Collins and Marisol McKee.
Yeah.
Both came out like it's easy to or not easy,
Oh, you're
but
right, it was Chandru. Why did I forget that was Chandru?
it's I don't know. How did I forget that Chance had a title match? It's
Yeah.
one of those things.
It's
But
it's the fact of the matter that the Schmoedown's been gone for 3 years now.
yes,
That's happened since the last time we did an episode. It's been the 3-year anniversary of the last Schmoedown event. And so the stuff just starts to slip your brain even when you still do a show about it.
absolutely. And it's one of those things where it's like other stuff fills your brain. You start to focus on some other
Yeah.
stuff. It's like
Yeah.
what's it called? But we'll get into Marisol and Adam. What's so impressive, I think, about both their runs is they came out of nowhere. Like before Shannon, they didn't play a Schmoedown match. I think it's
It's
very
true.
impressive, and like some people make this point for Dagnino, how Dagnino was able to build up all these players he drafted into very interesting either players or threats for the title. The fact that Marisol was able to bring two rookies basically and have them end their careers with Shannon both being singles champions
Yeah.
is an
We're gonna
absolute
get into this in a second, Eric.
absolutely. Well, I mean, if you thought about it, going into the first faction season, you wouldn't think the corruption was that stacked.
No, I mean, do you want to just go over what corruption looked like at that
Absolutely,
time
let's do it.
after the draft? Okay, after the draft, corruption was Mike, Chance, Mark Edward Hoyk, Elliot Dewberry, Laura Kelly, Clee Wiggins, Marisol McKee, who no one had ever heard of, Bonnie Somerville, Rick Ramos, who is a comedian that I don't think ever played. And last draft pick Shannon did was for Nerd Chronic, who had to drop out of competing to be the editor of the show. She then traded Bonnie Somerville after one match to the Burning Droogs for Claudia Dolph, and then signed Adam Collins in free agency that year.
Yes. So
I
like
never would
going
have guessed
into
that was
that,
going to be a faction winning team.
yeah, no one like to be especially when you look at that first set faction season, everyone was putting their money on the Finstock Exchange. Everyone was like, the
Mhm.
Finstock Exchange is so stacked. There's no way they
Yeah.
don't win. Um, it's one of those ones where it only became stacked because Adam Collins came in free agency and blew everyone's socks off in an incredible tournament run where he's basically the 16th seed who ends up winning the tournament and winning the
He
belt.
was a play-in match,
A
if you
play-in
remember that.
match.
Yeah.
So that's insane. And then with Marisol McKee, the hit like it's funny how the Schmoedown mirror sports in a lot of ways is where
Mhm.
if you can basically get an all-star or an all-pro in like the fourth or fifth round in the NFL, you can
Yeah.
kind of save your job or at least accelerate your timeline to winning.
Mhm.
Like when you get maybe the best play, like we're going to talk about at some point top 10 legacies, and Marisol is definitely either around 10th or fringe 10th. When you maybe get a top 10 player of all time in that round that low, it just
Yeah.
that hit just is so influential. And if you're able to develop that player, and we have to, this is where we have to give Shannon credit. She was
Mhm.
able to develop that talent. She was able to develop
Yeah.
Adam Collins and Marisol McKee. And even though they weren't perfect characters to begin with, she was able to support them in their character work and also at least give them something to start character wise. I think the Lady
Yeah.
Justice gimmick was very underrated and kind of nice and was a good thing. Collins, I think it's overblown his like, oh, he's not good enough character work
Yeah.
early on. I think his early character work was fine-ish,
Yeah.
but it was tough because of the digital age
Mhm.
to pop like that.
Yeah, just want to pull up these comments from Eric. He
Yeah, of
says, "Yeah,
course.
people obviously knew the hidden gems that others did not." That's true. And he says, "It's like Tom Brady being drafted like how late?" Yeah, I think Tom Brady was what, a 7th round pick?
Then Tom Brady was a seventh round pick. We could talk about Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, the ideas that I come to mind as a Giants fan quickly is like getting Cam Scadaboo in the later rounds. I don't remember if it was third or fourth. Just getting a running back that can produce and you can lean on that is important. Whether it's a running back, offensive tackle, you got to hit on your
Yeah.
third and fourth round picks. And like the only
Yeah.
reason our GM still has a job, even though again, I'm not going to get too into it because I can get into how much of a Giants fan, how much I hate the GM and coach, is that he was able to hit on a decent amount of draft picks in late draft
Mhm.
picks.
Yeah.
But
So is Shannon, really. I mean, Dewberry, Clee Wiggins, they never won belts for Shannon. Laura Kelly never got that Star Wars belt that I think everybody would have liked to have seen her get at some point.
But she was the
But
most Laura
sh
Kelly was the most interesting by far when she was with Shannon. Her heel work
absolutely.
was amazing.
Absolutely. And, they all got quality wins for her, though. I think Laura was a semi-finalist in the Star Wars tournament in 2020. I think that, like, Elliot got a quality wins, Klee got a couple of wins, like, everybody got Mark Edward Hoyt got some quality wins, so everybody got wins for
I'm
Shannon
not
that
sure
in
if
the
Hoyt got
end.
wins. He got close matches, I think, though. Hoyt was one of
Yeah.
those ones I just remember
I
every
think
single
Hoyt won at least 1 round in the singles
I think
tournament in
at least one
2020.
match he
But he
won.
he did something, and he
Yes.
got, and they all contributed to the faction championship that they end up winning in 2020
Absolutely, and
because
I would also quickly say that,
yeah,
like, I think Shannon is one of the biggest reasons they have the faction culture of people studying together, that building each
absolutely.
other up. Like, she was one of the main proponents where everyone looked at corruption and how much they were improving, how much they were studying together, their studying sessions, and I think, that I think Winston deserves some credit to this, but I think the culture she created within corruption is very underrated and not talked about enough.
Okay, I guess I'm wrong. Mark Edward Hoyk wasn't in the singles tournament in 2020, but he was there, he was competing, contributing, and like you said, in studying, he must have been a phenomenal study, like,
Absolutely.
person to go against because he knows so much, so, um yeah, Eric saying they were all carrying their weight and making points, and that they were really good at training from everything he knows of it. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
So
I,
they
I
and
find it somewhat interesting, and we'll say here as well, congratulations to Adam and Marisol. They got married over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so congratulations to them. But I think it is really great that they have similar paths in the Schmoedown, but they did it with Marisol being a draft pick and Adam being a free agent signing. And like Adam did it first, and I think that sort of inspired Marisol to want to do it more once they were together, because they were the tag team for the teams division and
Yes.
stuff too. So um, they didn't get a belt in the teams division, but they both got singles belts, and they were the only ones to win the singles championship under Shannon,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely, and also what they were in a close division with Swag, and what's something that should also be said about Shannon's time at Corruption is she cleaned up at Spectacular
Yes,
normally.
she did.
It's like every time there'd be a close faction race, and just Shannon would just win the matches they need to clinch
Hmm.
up that faction title.
Yeah. I remember going into the 2021 spectacular that I happened to be at. There were a lot of talk about, well, we've got Finstock Exchange in these matches and Corruption in these matches, and maybe it'll come down to Marisol versus Griffin. Oh, we've lost Josh. Hopefully he comes back soon. But maybe it'll come down to that match, Marisol versus Griffey Nooms. And that'll be for the faction championships and everything. And by the time I got to that, I don't even remember it being like an option that Corruption wasn't going to win the faction championship. Um, they beat Swag in 2020 by 11 points with a record of 21 wins, 12 losses, 6 KOs in that time. They beat Finstock Exchange by 12 points in 2021, 24 wins, 21 losses, 4 KOs. And again, the draft day roster for Shannon was a little different coming out of the 2021 draft. She had, because she won the faction championship in 2020, the ability to sign 3 players immediately. She chose Mike, Chance, and Adam, the singles champ, and Corruption. Of course, you're going to do that. So the Den signed Marisol, and Shannon was like, "No, I want my girl." So she traded the first and second round draft picks to the Den for Marisol. So their draft ended up looking like Mark Edward Hoyk, Joseph Scrimshaw, Sean Sullivan, Jacob Blunden, Clee Wiggins, James White, Elliot Dewberry, and Claudia Dolph. And again, they got enough production from the other players on the roster, combined with Adam, Chance, Mike, and Marisol, to win the faction championships again. And as I will say this as well, Marisol winning the championship meant a lot to me, like an awful lot to me as a woman. And her having a female manager standing next to her when that happened also meant a lot to me. It kind of really sucks that she's the only female champion in singles, but that's just the way that the thing goes.
I blame Sam Levine for beating Clark Wolf and Rachel
Yeah,
Cushing in those
yeah.
very close games
Well,
both won.
Clark and Rachel being the first teams champs means something to me. We'll pull
Yes.
the skills quote back up here. I loathed Shannon at first, but then Corruption kept winning. Had to put respect on her name after season 7. Absolutely. And then Eric saying the best thing was when Mike started it, she tried not to want to be involved. Then when she got involved, she proved to be exceptional and an asset. Absolutely.
Yes.
Shannon was phenomenal
Absolutely.
at
And
getting the best out of Mike, but getting the best out of everybody else on her faction too.
absolutely, and just creating a culture of winning. Like, I think when we're going to get to the greatest manager of all time talk, and I'm going to maybe play my hand a little of where I'm leaning. The fact that we had 2 seasons where the managers mattered the most, which were the faction seasons. 2 seasons where everyone was all in on trying to win the faction race, basically. And the same person won it twice when it was the most competitive.
Yeah.
And like, I'll be on it. Like, I can go on a whole side tangent about the Marisol McKee trade with the Den and my thoughts on that. I can do a whole episode on my thoughts on.
We might have to do a whole episode on the drafts one day and just analyze both drafts
I
to
was about
death.
to say, because I truly mean this. I despise the decision of the second draft. The first one, I understand. I think it's okay. The second draft, I can't get into it right now because it would be an hour later because
All right. We'll add that to the calendar and we'll get that episode done
we'll
for you
figure it
at
out.
some point.
But
Yeah, if Shannon
it
it
is a
carried on,
big,
Shannon would have three-peated. I agree with this.
absolutely. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, when it came to the faction race, you couldn't bet against them because they cleaned up at Spectacular, and also the fact that they didn't have their first or second round picks going into this season. I mean, they did have the most stacked roster, but just because we saw the Finstock Exchange in their first season with Ben Bateman, Dan Murrell, John Roca, Mark Riley, it's like having the most stacked roster and the most champions in a way that doesn't always lead to winning the faction title or belt success.
Yeah.
And the Finstock Exchange did get belt success that first season, but they were nowhere close to the faction title when the race was done. It was between Swag and Corruption. I think the fact that Marisol had that pressure of having those four superstars of Marisol, Adam, Mike, and Chance, and converted it when the Finstock Exchange couldn't against the person who is the only person in the running for the greatest manager of all time. It says something, I think, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The PEF saying, I had low expectations for Shannon when she first came into the league as a manager, but she truly belongs on the Mount Rushmore Schmoedown managers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to have the GOAT debate in a minute, but yeah, she belongs on the Mount Rushmore 100%.
Absolutely. Like I think the Mount Rushmore managers, it's very clear. It's Shannon, Dagnino, Emma Fythe, and then the fourth one is where you can make an argument for a couple people.
Yeah.
But, like, I think maybe this is recently biased. Eileen Winston for the fourth one, but
I think it's hard not to put Coy on there.
Coy's up there too. It's really
Winston. Let's not get into it. Let's do this.
Yes. We gotta save these for other episodes.
Yeah, we stay on task.
Yes, gotta stay on task.
But yeah, what do you want to talk about next, Josh?
It's the only like small thing you can maybe not ding her, but when it comes to the non-Marisol, Adam, Chance, Mike, her results are a bit more average compared to Dagnino's, where Dagnino has you can name like success with like 7 or 8 9 different people of bringing them up and like having them be somewhat contenders in a way, especially when we get into the rookie class of the second faction season. But I think that's to give a counterpoint to the point I just made. It's tough to just get Adam and Marisol to have 2 single champions to manage 2 different single champions.
Absolutely.
And like most managers is like they're going to have their 4 or 5 that they have success with, but like it's very difficult to like have success with everyone you manage, especially during the faction season.
Absolutely. The fact, like we said, Shannon Marisol was a draft pick. Adam was a free agent. Josh seems to be gone again. We'll hope he gets back. I'm not sure what's going on.
Having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I see that. I was like, where's Josh? Keep going. But the fact that she did that with it, just a draft pick no one had ever heard of, and a guy signed in free agency that no one paid attention to that free agency because that was the one, I believe, where Roxy signed Chris Jericho. Not that he panned out to be much, but the fact that Adam Collins and Marisol did is just a credit to Shannon's ability to talent scout.
Absolutely.
And the fact that the rosters, none of the rest of them won a belt or anything, but she put together well-crafted rosters to get to the goal, which was to win the faction championship.
Yeah, or at least help out. Like, I'm sure we can't, like, we say that, like, oh, they didn't have that much success in Schmoedown. We don't know how much behind the scenes work they were doing to help Marisol, to help Adam, to do all that. And from what we've heard, at least from backstage and from Schmoedown comments and everything, that, like, they had arguably the best culture of studying and so much so that it became mandatory. If you wanted to have success within the Schmoedown as a manager, you have to have study sessions, or even as a competitor, you have to have teammates. You have to have people to study with. You have to have a supportive manager, especially during the faction season.
Absolutely. So should we have the debate?
Let's do it. So I'll start off. I think she's the greatest manager of all time. I think it's somewhat close with Dagnino. There's different points you can make. I think there's a lot of wash arguments, like the Patriots thing versus Mike's success. I think is a wash. I think the fact of the amount of rookies the Finstock Exchange had versus Marisol and Adam both becoming single champions, that's somewhat of a wash. You can maybe say slight edge because Adam and Marisol ended up winning the belt, and while the Exchange's rookies were very good, other well, you could maybe wash it with Griffin Newman and Jeff King Khan. I think it was Jeffrey Khan.
Yeah.
Winning the team's belt over Shazam. So you could say those two are a wash. You could make the argument that Dagnino's been doing it for longer. You could make the argument that Shannon's done just as much in a shorter span of time. To me, the tiebreaker is these two managers were going head to head in the faction title to try and win the faction. And Dagnino, that first faction season, had no excuses not to win the title when he had Dan Murrell, Ben Bateman, Mark Riley, John Roca. They wanted to change the rules because of how stacked the Exchange was. And they ended up having the second draft because of how stacked the Exchange was and how the Exchange were leading by a mile halfway through the season, I remember. And despite that, Corruption won. And then this next season, even though the Exchange was close, they lost by 12 points to Corruption in the end. Like, to me, that's the tiebreaker. Is like when it mattered most for managers, when it was the manager was the most important. The season that we all agree was most like a sport, Shannon dominated, and Shannon was the one to win 2 out of 2.
Yeah. I agree with you. This isn't going to be much of a debate.
I mean, the only small argument you can make is that, like, you can make the argument Dagnito's, if you want to take it out of, if you want to add to the legacy, the storylines and the character work, I would give a slight character work to Dagnino because he is truly, like, even when it comes to competitors, he's up there for, like, greatest character, so many great moments, so many great lines, and he's been doing it longer for Shannon, but, like, so that's the only, like, not only, but it's the main argument I understand for Dagnino, where it's like Dagnino's character truly is one of one, and he is truly one of the most entertaining and eye-catching people to watch within the Schmoedown when it comes to that type of stuff, for sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to put this article that Josh wrote back in January of 2022 in the chat.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing this.
Yeah.
Which one?
It's the Shannon Barney isn't just the manager of the year, she's the GOAT article. It will be in there. There you go. Let's look at some of the comments here. Eric says one of the secrets to studying, put subtitles on. You learn so much. This is true. And the PEF saying, if we are talking strictly managing, I'm going to go Shannon. But if we factor in character, it's hard for me to go against Dagnino. And that's basically where I'm at with the two of them. Dagnino to me is the better character. Shannon's the better manager. She got more out of players that weren't already at the top. Dagnino kind of lucked his way into managing the Horsemen, which meant that the first season of the faction thing, he kind of lucked his way into having all of them on the Finstock Exchange.
But to be fair to Dagnino, is he did, and some people give this credit to the Barbarian, but he had a lot of rookies that second year.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, this his second year, way more impressive to me than the first year, because nobody had any idea who many of these people were, and maybe it was Barbarian that did all the homework on them or what, but still Dagnino had to draft them, and he did, and they did well for him. With his whatever their studying regime was over at the Finstock Exchange. But
I'll also quickly say, like, I think I agree with you that Dagnino's the better character, Shannon's the better manager. However, when it comes to, like, the greatest manager of all time, I think Shannon's good enough in the promo work. And we started off this episode going over how she immediately came in and immediately made an impact when it came to the character stuff. I think that it's not enough of an edge for me. It just depends. Like this argument just depends on what you value. If you value the
Yeah.
character work, it's going to be Dagnino. But to me, the win 2 out of 2 faction titles, to me, that's just too much of a mic drop, if you will, to like argue against, even with if Dagnino has the better character work.
Yeah, I agree. Eric saying Dagnino is in it longer, doing character. Shannon adapted and evolved. She got it and embraced it. Absolutely. That 2021 season really helped Dagnino's legacy as a manager. I agree with that as well. And Fool's Gill saying, got to give it to Finstock. He delegated really well.
And honestly, nothing. There's no what's it called? No, it's not like he shouldn't get credit for that. Like some of the
No.
best managers and coaches are the ones who delegate. You can make the argument in the NFL these days. The coaches that don't succeed are the ones who don't know how to delegate and don't know how to split up the important tasks and give it to the people who know how to succeed and do the best within it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Josh, anything else we should talk about today?
I think we covered a lot. I mean, we gave our opinion of why we love Shannon Barney, how much really a mind-boggling amount of success for her to have when it comes to the 3 seasons. Like
we have Ferris chiming in now.
yes.
Dagnino is the GOAT. He won pre-factions and during factions. He led the Lions Den as well as the Patriots reign. I think that he has the advantage as far as like getting the most title defenses out of a champion, but I wouldn't put very much of the Patriots reign down to Dagnino.
I mean, and even if you do, then I can say about Shannon again. The Mike's IG defenses comes with it, and to say that he did win during factions, but did he win the faction? Like who truly won the factions? And by the way, both seasons were for one reason or another. What's it called? My brain just stopped working. But like Dagnino had so much pressure on him when it came into that first season because he was expected to win. He had the stacked team. Like Dagnino was like Steve Kerr on the Warriors with Kevin Durant, except in his first season with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, they didn't win the title.
Yeah,
it's like it's tough to me to forgive to him when you have that type of team and you don't win the title.
Mm-hmm. The Pef saying he would love to do a giant Schmoedown mock draft at some point, getting every player who ever played and build a faction.
Oh, I'd love that. We should do it. That's a great suggestion. We should do it almost an episode week.
The Pef, if you are on Twitter or Instagram, follow us at LGRN post credits and get in touch, like through DM, because I'd love to have him on when we do that because it was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
Full Skill saying, I was looking forward to Shannon as a face during Friday Night Titans. Could have been a great character. I think she could have been a great face too. I mean, Shannon, and my interactions with her just through like getting her on the old Schmoedown Crackdown show and stuff she's wonderful.
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons why she probably played such a great heel, is because she could get to be like different than she normally is. And that's just, she was so great. She was so great.
Yeah, it's one of those things where also I wonder, it's like I would have liked to seen it, but the issue is with the Friday night Titans, that's the word. Friday Night Titans is that format was not built for manager success in a lot of ways. It wasn't built for manager success. It was built for manager success in helping their players off the scene, but like the on the screen stuff, we didn't get like there wasn't a lot of it. Wasn't the managers just lost a lot of its spark, honestly. So like a lot of the storylines with managers wasn't working as well or wasn't as interesting.
No,
it was just tough to show them in that spotlight in that format.
I think it was difficult to still kind of have factions with managers when there was nothing they were playing for.
Yeah, like, and then they have some players who aren't on factions, and then
like what was the point of the manager to be there when they walked out at the end of the Friday Night Titans episode and said, this is who I'm challenging for next week? That still drives me nuts that we didn't know what was going to happen.
When you open the Pandora's box of the faction system and the importance of manager, it's hard to
go back from that.
it's hard to go back, and that's what the Schmoedown learned in a hard way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap us up here tonight. Josh, where can people find you?
You can find me here at LGR, both on the post credits channel, but also now I have a new show talking basketball with Shug Knight. In fact, we have a new episode tomorrow previewing the NBA season because the season's going to start next week. I can't believe it's going to start next week. We're going to be talking about who we think is making the playoffs, some awards predictions, and some storylines we're excited to look forward to. So it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, Shug and Josh will be hosting that over on the Good Friends Better Rivals channel, which is linked in the front page of this YouTube channel, or you can find a link to it on our website, letsgetreadynetwork.com. There you can also find all the places you can support the network if you're interested in doing so, including following us on social media, or Patreon, Ko-Fi, Buy Me a Coffee, stuff like that. We appreciate any and all support, no matter what kind it is. Thank you to everyone who's been in the chat tonight. The Pef, Foolsgill, Ferris, Eric, Brennan. Appreciate you all so much. And we will be back next month with another edition of Nostalgia Crackdown. Bye, everyone.
It's for real.